Welcome to Francis Reads the Bible. Today I'm moving on to Exodus chapter 24. And Exodus chapter 24 is about the sealing of the covenant. So the Lord said to Moses, "Come up the mountain to me, you and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the leaders of Israel. And while you are still some distance away, bow down in worship. You alone and none of the others are to come near me. The people are not even to come up to the mountain, to come up the mountain." Moses went and told the people all the Lord's commands and all the ordinances, and all the people answered together, "We will do everything that the Lord has said." Moses wrote down all the Lord's commands. Early the next morning, he built an altar at the foot of the mountain and set up 12 stones, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent young men, and they burned sacrifices to the Lord and sacrificed some cattle as fellowship offerings. So, what's happening thus far is the Ten Commandments have been given, and the Israelites have been told, "See the commandments God has given," and they're like, "Yes, we agree, we will do everything that God has said, we'll obey God's commandments." And so now the covenant is about to be sealed. So the 70 leaders of Israel, with Nadab, Abihu, Aaron, and Moses are to go up the mountain, as in a way to go meet with God, because they're the representatives of Israel. The leaders of Israel are representatives, so they are going to go for the sealing. So covenant is important, but there's, as we've seen with the story of Abraham or Abraham or Abraham, as some people call him, that a covenant, when said and agreed, there's always a sign or a sealing of the covenant. For Abraham, it was the circumcision, which is still ongoing with his descendants. That's the sign of the covenant with God. So Moses took half of the blood of the animals and put it in bowls, and the other half he threw against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant in which the Lord's commands were written and read it aloud to the people. Then they said, "We will obey the Lord and do everything that he has commanded." Then Moses took the blood in the bowls and threw them, or bowls, and threw it on the people. He said, "This is the blood that seals the covenant which the Lord made with you when he gave all these commands." Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the leaders of Israel went up the mountain, and they saw the God of Israel. Beneath his feet was what looked like a pavement of sapphire, as blue as the sky. Wow. So these leaders also saw God. Wow. Just imagine how they felt in the presence of God and whatnot. I'm just imagining them describing it to their family members and people, what God looked like and what they saw God. As in, they actually saw God. Wow. I wonder what they saw. The only thing is, beneath his feet was what looked like a pavement of sapphire as blue as the sky. Most times when people draw God, they make him an old man with grey hair, grey beards, Caucasian. But we're all made in God's image. But I wonder the form in which God appeared to them as. Maybe, who knows? Was it as a man? Was it as someone who looks like them? The Israels or something, the Israelites or something. Who knows? God did not harm these leading men of Israel. They saw God, and then they ate and drank together. Wait, they actually sat and ate food with God and they drank. Wow. Wow. Just wow. That's high honor, man. Wow. The Lord said to Moses, "Come up the mountain to me, and while you are here, I will give you two stone tablets which contain all the laws that I have written for the instruction of the people." Moses and his helper Joshua got ready, and Moses began to go up the holy mountain. Moses said to the leaders, "Wait here in the camp for us until we come back. Aaron and Hur are here with you, and so whoever has a dispute to settle can go to them." Moses went up Mount Sinai, and a cloud covered it, so the people won't see what was happening there with God. God was going to have meeting with Moses to give him the two tablets containing the Ten Commandments. Wow. They actually sat and ate food with God. They drank with God, you know. And one thing I've thought about is Moses and his helper Joshua got ready. If one of Moses' sons had been his helper, I wonder if they would have taken over after Moses died. Instead of Joshua, who was Moses' helper, taking over. It's just me thinking out loud because, like I said before, in many churches today, let's say the church is run by a father and mother, then their sons, daughters, every member of the family becomes pastors and whatnot. If they pass, the church is passed over to the descendants or the children of the or one child of the late pastor and whatnot. So Moses, it never happened. His kids were never people of reckoning or anything in tribe of Israel, in the people of Israel, sorry. Nothing ever happened. Joshua took over after Moses died. Well, the dazzling light of the Lord's presence came down on the mountain. Even though there were clouds, the dazzling light of the Lord's presence could still be seen and felt. To the Israelites, the light looked like a fire burning on top of the mountain. The cloud covered the mountain for 6 days, and on the seventh day, the Lord called to Moses from the cloud. Then Moses went on up the mountain into the cloud. There he stayed for 40 days and nights. People say Moses didn't eat. He fasted and whatnot for the 40 days, but there was no information to tell us that. But then if those elders had gone to the mountain and they had ate and drank with God, who are we to say that God didn't feed Moses for the 40 days and 40 nights that he was there? And even if he was there in the presence of God, that's supernatural. You won't feel hunger if God desires it to be so, or thirst. So other people say, "Oh, Moses fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and Jesus fasted for 40 days." It's not the same. Moses was in the presence of God, you know, but Jesus was in human flesh, even though he was God, but he hadn't started his ministry, he was in human flesh. He had no power or anything then. He wasn't functioning then in his ministry at the time. So I wonder how he stayed for the 40 days. Did he fast? Did he eat anything? Did God feed him? And whatnot. I have so many questions. I guess we might never know. Or maybe the next chapters will reveal it. Or 40 days and 40 nights. But that's another thing. Number 40, I've noticed in the Bible, is very important. 40. The Israelites moved around for 40 years. A journey of 40 days became 40 years. Then Moses was up on the mountain for 40 days and nights. Jesus fasted 40 days and nights. There are other mentions of 40 in the Bible. And as always, these are my thoughts. God bless you and thank you for listening to Francis Reads the Bible. See you next time. Goodbye.